Hello dear students, Assalamu alaikum. I hope you will be fine. My name is Engineer Mir Masood Shah. I am lecturer in Department of Technology, Sarad University of Science and Information Technology, Peshawar. As I am teaching you the subject Design of Hydraulic Structure, today is your lecture number 18. In lecture number 18, we will continue the topic requirements for the stability of dam. In this lecture we will study about the third point, which is the tension, or the third factor, which is the tension. Masonry and concrete gravity dams are usually designed in such a way that no tension is developed anywhere, because these materials cannot withstand tensile stresses. If subjected to such stresses, these materials may finally crack. However, for achieving economy in design of very high gravity dams, certain amount of tension may be permitted under severest loading condition. This may be permitted because of the fact that such worst loading conditions shall occur only momentarily for a little time and would neither last long nor occur frequently. The maximum permissible tensile stress for high concrete gravity dams under worst loading may be taken as 500 kN per square meter, that is 5 kg per square centimeter. The effect produced by tension crack in a dam when such a tension cracks develops, say at the heel, crack's width, or strictly speaking crack area, loses contact with the bottom foundation and thus becomes ineffective. So hence the effective weight B, considering unit length of the dam base, will be reduced. This will increase Pmax at the, as a result, this will increase Pmax at the toe. Moreover, the uplift pressure diagram gets modified due to crack formation as shown in figure 19.8. As you can see, A, B, C, this is the old uplift diagram, while A dash, B dash, A dash, B dash and C dash. This is the new uplift diagram after crack area, after the crack A dash has developed. So as the crack developed, the uplift diagram completely changes, and this results in an increase in the uplift. Since the uplift increases and the net effective downward force reduces, the resultant will shift more towards the toe and thus further increasing the compressive stresses at the toe and further lengthening the crack due to further tension development. This process continues. The effective base weight goes on reducing and compressive stresses at the toe goes on increasing, finally leading to the failure of the toe by direct compression. Hence, a tension crack by itself does not fail the structure, but it leads to failure of the structure by producing excessive compressive stresses at the toe, and as a result the toe fails. In order to ensure that no tension is developed anywhere in the structure, we must ensure that P minimum is at the most equal to 0. Since P max by P minimum is equal to summation V divided by B into 1 plus minus 6E divided by B, P minimum is equal to summation V divided by B into 1 minus 6E divided by B. So if we assume P minimum is equal to 0, then summation V divided by B into 1 minus 6E divided by B equal to 0. By simplifying this equation, we will get E is equal to B divided by 6. So hence maximum value of eccentricity that can be permitted on either side of the center is equal to B divided by 6, and this leads to the famous statement that the resultant must lie within the middle third. So in order to ensure that no tension is developed, the eccentricity must lie within the middle third or the eccentricity that can be permitted on either side is equal to B divided by 6. The last one is the sliding. Sliding or shear failure will occur when the net horizontal force above any plane in the dam or at the base of the dam exceeds the frictional resistance developed at that level. The friction developed between two surfaces is equal to mu summation V, as you can see in figure 19.9, where summation V is the algebraic sum of all the vertical forces whether upward or downward, and mu is the coefficient of friction between the two surfaces. In order that no sliding takes place, the external horizontal force, that is summation H, must be less than the shear resistance mu summation V. That is, summation H should be less than mu summation V, or summation mu summation V divided by summation H should be greater than 1. Mu summation V divided by summation H represents nothing but the factor of safety against sliding, which must be or always greater than unity. The factor of safety against sliding is equal to mu summation V divided by summation H, and this value must be greater than unity. In low dams, the safety against sliding should be checked only for friction, but in high dams, for economical precise designs, the shear strength of the joint, which is an additional shear resistance, must also be considered. If the shear resistance of the joint is also considered, then the equation of factor of safety against sliding, which is measured by shear friction factor, that is SFF, becomes equal to mu summation V plus B into Q divided by summation H. Here B is the width of the dam at the joint and Q is the average shear strength of the joint, which varies from about 1400 kN per square meter, that is 14 kg per square centimeter for poor rock, to 4000 kN per square meter or 40 kg per square centimeter for good rocks. The value of mu generally varies from 0.65 to 0.75. Attempts are always made to increase this shear strength Q at the base and at other joints, and for this purpose foundation is constructed in stepped at the base as shown in figure 19.10. As you can see, the foundation is constructed in steps, and measures are taken to ensure a better bond between the dam base and the rock foundation. During the construction of a dam, horizontal joints have to be left as shown in figure. These are the horizontal joints. The shear strength of the joint should be made as good as possible by ensuring better bond between the two surfaces, and for this purpose the lower surface must be thoroughly cleaned and a layer of neat cement or rich cement mortar should be spread before pouring the standard concrete mix for the upper layer. If these precautions of quality control are not adhered in the field, the assumption made in accounting for this shear strength in the design will not be justified. That is why for small dams where quality control is less, this shear strength of the joint is not taken into account at all while determining the shear friction factor or factor of safety against sliding. And this is the end of our today's lecture.